The fluorescent lights of the conference room buzzed overhead as Marcus Reed signed his name on the termination document. His hand did not tremble. His face betrayed nothing. Across the table, the HR representative avoided his eyes, sliding the severance packet toward him like it might burn. 12 years of service reduced to a manila envelope and a security escort to his car. That evening, when his 7-year-old daughter Lily asked why he was home early, Marcus knelt to her level and smiled. "Just changing jobs, sweetheart. Nothing to worry about." Across the city, in a corner office 43 floors above the street, Victoria Ashford reviewed the quarterly efficiency report. Her signature had authorized 312 terminations that month. Marcus Reed was number 247. She should have moved on to the next page immediately. Instead, her gaze lingered on his name longer than it should have. The first rejection came within a week. Marcus had applied to Hendricks Engineering, a mid-sized firm where he knew the hiring manager from industry conferences. The phone call lasted less than 2 minutes. "I'm sorry, Marcus, really, but we've received some concerning information from your previous employer." "Internal issues," they said. "I can't take the risk." He thanked the man and hung up. The second rejection followed the same pattern. Then the third. By the fourth week, Marcus stopped expecting anything different. He adjusted his resume, removed the Ashford Industries header, tried smaller companies that might not check references so thoroughly. The responses were always the same polite decline, the same vague references to concerns they couldn't specify. Lily noticed the changes before he said anything. She was perceptive in the way only children who have already lost too much can be. Her mother had passed 3 years ago, and since then, Lily had developed an almost supernatural awareness of her father's moods. She noticed how the music stopped playing during dinner, how the evening conversations grew shorter, how her father's laughter, once so easy, now required visible effort. One night, she climbed onto the couch beside him and pressed her small body against his arm. "Daddy, are you sad?" Marcus looked down at her, at the concern creasing her young face, and felt something crack in his chest. "Just tired, sweetheart. Grown-up tired. Is it because of work?" He considered lying. He had been lying for weeks, maintaining the fiction that everything was fine, that the job search was going well, that their savings would last forever. But Lily deserved better than comfortable lies. "Work is a little hard right now," he admitted. "But I'm figuring it out." She nodded slowly, processing this information with the gravity of a much older soul. "I can help. I can make dinner sometimes. And I don't need new shoes this year." The offer nearly broke him. He pulled her close and pressed his lips to the top of her head, breathing in the strawberry scent of her shampoo. "You don't need to do anything, except be you. That's the only job you have." Across town, Victoria Ashford presided over her weekly executive meeting with the same cold efficiency that had built her empire. Ashford Industries had grown from her father's modest manufacturing company into a multinational conglomerate under her leadership. She had made difficult decisions before. Thousands of them. The restructuring that had eliminated Marcus Reed's position was necessary for the company's survival. The shareholders demanded results. The board expected growth. Sentiment had no place in the equations that determined success. Yet something nagged at her during the presentation on third-quarter projections. A name she couldn't quite shake. A file she had reviewed more carefully than usual. When her assistant mentioned that several former employees had filed complaints about being blacklisted from the industry, Victoria's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Handle it through legal," she said. Standard procedure. She did not ask which employees. She did not want to know. The coffee shop on Maple Street had become Marcus's office. He couldn't afford to heat the apartment during the day anymore, so he nursed a single cup for hours while sending out applications on his laptop. The baristas knew him by now. They had stopped asking if he wanted anything else. Small mercies. It was there, hunched over another rejection email, that Marcus first heard the rumor. Tom Vasquez, a former colleague from Ashford Industries, spotted him through the window, and came inside. They exchanged the usual pleasantries, the awkward dance of people who once worked together and now existed in different worlds. "I probably shouldn't tell you this," Tom said, lowering his voice, "but I heard something about why you were really let go." Marcus set down his coffee. "I assumed it was the restructuring. The efficiency initiative." Tom shook his head. "That's the official story. But someone in HR mentioned your name was flagged before the cuts were announced. Something about a report you filed. Or didn't file. They made it sound like you were responsible for the Henderson Project failure." "The Henderson Project?" Marcus felt the blood drain from his face. "I wasn't even on that team. I flagged the problems with their timeline 6 months before it collapsed." "I know." Tom glanced around nervously. "That's what doesn't add up. Someone rewrote the narrative, Marcus. And whoever did it made sure your name ended up on every blacklist in the industry." After Tom left, Marcus sat motionless for a long time. The Henderson Project had been a disaster, a $12 million failure that had embarrassed the company and cost several executives their bonuses. He remembered writing the memo that predicted exactly what would go wrong. He remembered sending it to his supervisor, who had assured him it would reach the appropriate channels. Now he understood. The memo had reached someone, all right. Someone who needed a scapegoat when the project imploded. Someone who had decided that Marcus Reed, with his inconvenient predictions and his paper trail of warnings, was the perfect candidate to absorb the blame. The question was whether Victoria Ashford knew, whether she had personally ordered his destruction, or whether she had simply signed off on it without looking too closely. Either way, the result was the same. His career was in ruins, his reputation was destroyed, and somewhere in that gleaming tower downtown, the people responsible were collecting their quarterly bonuses. Victoria reviewed the Henderson file that evening, alone in her office, long after everyone else had gone home. She told herself it was routine due diligence, a CEO's responsibility to understand past failures. But something about the documentation felt wrong. The report identifying Marcus Reed as the primary source of the project's collapse was comprehensive, detailed, damning, too comprehensive, too detailed. She pulled the original project files and began cross-referencing. 3 hours later, she found the first discrepancy. A memo dated 6 months before the collapse, buried in an archive folder that should have been purged. The author